From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your Evening Update.
Cascade Paint and Supply is Reading's oldest family-owned paint store, established in 1953. We are the largest Dunn Edwards dealer in the nation, and most of our products are made in the U.S. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff are ready to answer your questions and help you today.
Hello everyone, Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger here. So glad you could join us here on this Monday evening. You know, we're going to take a look at our weather headlines, and we're going to start off by talking about those cold mornings with areas of frost. Now there's a slight warming trend this week. We could be flirting with that 70-degree mark for some of the warmest locations in the valley. Gusty north winds off and on. What I'm expecting here is that the winds will die down tonight and tomorrow, but picking back up again here for your Wednesday. And we'll continue that slight chance for rain, but mainly better chances for some of that mountain snow, which we'll get into here a little bit later. Let's start off, though, with Kruger's quickcast for your Monday, January 20th. Starting off with your temperatures for tonight, you're talking about temperatures dropping to right around or even below freezing for many of us in the valley. Widespread frost for the valley and, of course, the mountains. To the north and east, you're talking teens and 20s. Trinity County, upper 20s. And for the coast and inland, in the mid to upper 30s. Even some of the coastal areas seeing the potential for some of that frost. And you're probably going to need to scrape off those windshields tomorrow morning if you don't have the luxury of a garage. But still looking at those cold temperatures. You can see Modoc County, those temperatures dropping down into the upper teens. And that's at 8 o'clock in the morning. Obviously cooler than that earlier in the morning. Now we still have this ridge of high pressure, which is really preventing any of these storms from moving in. So you can see this storm system here and the one behind it. That's all butting up against that ridge like a brick wall. So that energy just gets all pushed up to the north. And we're left with those sunny skies out there. Let's take a look at the winds. And you can see here as we go into tomorrow morning, we're seeing those winds much calmer, generally below 10 miles per hour. And you can see as we go through the day on Tuesday, not an issue. But as we go into Tuesday night, they're beginning to elevate again. And they'll continue to be stronger as we go into your Wednesday morning and even your Wednesday afternoon. But for tomorrow, mainly sunny skies. Temperatures right around 60, give or take, for the valley. In the 40s for most of the higher elevations. Trinity County, mid-50s, upper 50s inland, and those mid to upper 50s for the coast, also under the mainly sunny skies. So let's take a look at that 7-day outlook for the valley. And temperatures, as I mentioned, getting warmer, especially for Wednesday. Wednesday could get close to 70, maybe even around 70, especially for the north end of the valley. Temperatures dropping. We got some colder Arctic air moving in by the weekend, which we'll touch on that too in our deeper dive forecast here in just a bit. For the coast, inland, and for Trinity County, keeping those temperatures fairly status quo. They're dropping a bit here as we get closer to the weekend. And there you can see out towards Trinity County, you're in the mid-40s by Saturday, back in the upper 40s by Sunday. Let's take you out to Siskiyou, Modoc County, and the eastern mountains. And look at these temperatures really dropping on Saturday. I mean, I think places like El Turris may even struggle to get above freezing for that daytime high by the time you do get into Saturday. So some much colder air moving in. Now, as of right now, you'll notice I don't have any rain or snow in the forecast, but that may change. We're going to take a closer look at that here in just a bit. But before we get to that, our Kruger's Quickcast, we're done with, right? You can go on with your evening. Know that you got the forecast for tonight and tomorrow. But before we get to the deeper dive, I do want to remind you that if you're new to Weather NorCal, know that you can get Weather NorCal wherever you are, even from your phone. I've got a free Weather NorCal app. Just go to your app store, search for Weather NorCal, download it for free, and before you know it, you've got Weather NorCal on your phone. You can even watch the video updates that you're watching right now from the app. How cool is that? All right, so here's a look at your deeper dive forecast. Again, we've got these storm systems butting up against that ridge of high pressure, and we're left with those sunny skies and above normal temperatures. Now the winds, as I mentioned here, for tomorrow, they're going to be much calmer. But look at by the time we get into a Wednesday morning, you see how the winds are picking back up from the north, especially for the foothills east of the valley. Now, I don't think the winds on Wednesday will be as strong as they were today, but they still will be gusty at times before probably dying down again by the time we get into your Thursday. All right, so remember I was talking about some colder air moving in. Here's a look at Saturday. We've got this cold Arctic air that's going to be moving in. We are going to see that significant drop in those temperatures, as I mentioned, down into the 30s, especially for the mountains to the east. As you start heading westward into the valley, not as cold, but certainly colder. And then, of course, you're looking at those temperatures also, again, not as cold as we'll see in those eastern mountains as that colder air moves in. Then that pretty much scoots on out of here. We've got high pressure building back in, and it warms back up as we go into early next week. But looking at the temperature outlook, yeah, it's certainly calling for those cooler than normal conditions here as that cold Arctic air moves in. So the overall setup that we've seen today, yeah, those north winds right here, that's the winds that have kind of been picking up here. Now over the next few days, we're going to see a peak in our temperatures here by Wednesday as that ridge of high pressure really builds and gets stronger. And as a result, we're still up with the sunny skies and those temperatures close to 70 degrees for some of us in the valley. Now, as we go into the weekend, this is where things start to change. Taking a look at Friday, there's that cold Arctic air moving in. Keep in mind, it's coming from the north, it's coming from a landmass. So it's a fairly moisture-starved storm system. So as you can see here, yeah, there is some snow on the map, but it's very light snow. It's not going to amount to much. And you can see as we take you into your Saturday, look what we're seeing here. Most of it's off to the east here, so parts of the eastern mountains, Lassen County, Plumas County, maybe even parts of eastern Shasta and Tehama counties in the mountains there. And then, of course, into the Sierra where we're seeing the bulk of that snow. But again, keep in mind, it's moisture-starved, and we're not going to see a lot of snow should this snow develop. Now, with that all being said, we are looking at the GFS, or the American Forecast Model. The European forecast model doesn't have any snow developing until we get south of our region, around, say, southeast of Sacramento, south of the Tahoe region, and of course south there moving into closer to Southern California, and nothing for Northern California. This is why I'm not really including rain or snow in the forecast just yet. We've got to watch to see what happens with the storm system. Farther west it is, the better the chances. The farther to the east it is, the smaller the chances for that snow. And of course, that will also have an impact on what happens with the temperatures as well. Then going into Sunday, you can see most of that snow is down to the south here, not very much. And we're starting to see those winds begin to pick back up again by the second half of the weekend and probably even into early next week. So with that all being said, the Climate Prediction Center still has us in the below normal category when it comes to those conditions with the rainfall. Now, this looks pretty promising, doesn't it? We saw some of that rain trying to come down into Southern California by this weekend. But at this point, I wouldn't count on much, if anything, quite honestly, for Southern California. We'll see what happens, but for now, it's just not looking very promising. Here's a look at your wave heights as we go into your Tuesday afternoon. They're not looking very high. Let's take you into your Wednesday. Actually, the wave heights will start to drop a little bit here. So no small craft advisories and nothing terribly concerning when it comes to being on a small boat, especially if you have to be out there fishing. All right, so for tonight, temperatures dropping down into the low 30s in the valley, teens and 20s to the north and east, and mainly in the 30s out towards the inland areas, mid to upper 30s along the coast. I think we're going to see some widespread frost across most of Northern California for tomorrow morning. So your Trinity County neighborhood forecast, your temperature is in the mid 50s, give or take. 54 degrees for Trinity Center, Ruth about 57. I still got you dry for the next 7 days. 59 degrees for Alder Point, 60 in Garberville, 59 in Rio Dell, and Blue Lake, about 58 degrees. Let's take you up to the north with about 58 degrees for Gas Key, 56 in Orleans, 57 degrees in Hoopa. Siskiyou County, temperatures mainly in the 40s, but even some low 50s in there. About 50 degrees for Mount Shasta City, 52 degrees for Dunsmuir, and Fort Jones, about 48 degrees in Scott Valley. Your Modoc County neighborhood forecast, your temperature is in the upper 40s, 7 degrees for Alturas. There you can see out towards Canby, about 46, and Cedarville, about 46 degrees. And your Eastern Mountains neighborhood forecast. Now, as I mentioned, if we see a chance for snow, I think the best chances will be on Saturday, and that would include places like maybe Bernie, Fall River Mills, Mineral, Chester, and then to the east. But those chances will be slimmer for places like Viola, out towards Paradise, even Shingletown most likely staying dry. And again, I'm keeping it dry in the forecast on Saturday because I'm waiting for a little bit more consistency before I start including that chance for snow in there. All right, here's your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by Walgamith Painting. Your temperatures will be in the mid to upper 50s there. Orland about 57, 61 for Hamilton City, and 57 degrees for Biggs. We take you up to the north with about 58 degrees for the city of Shasta Lake, 58 for Anderson, and Red Bluff, a high of about 61 degrees. All right, let's take a look at that 7-day outlook for Redding. Temperatures upper 50s for your Tuesday, so a slight dip in the temperatures. Back up close to 70 by Wednesday. Temperatures start to drop again. We're seeing about approximately a 10-degree drop, though, from Friday to Saturday. That's that colder Arctic air moving in. Obviously not as cold for the valley, but still dropping down to the mid-50s before warming back up as we go into early next week. That's your evening update. I'll be back again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. and on Coffee with Kruger at 7 a.m. Have a great night.